hit the warrior. I think he's at a disadvantage because he didn't find the matchup he wants to hit and tech against, but I don't think a massive one.
Yeah, it doesn't feel all but hopeless like it did with
Indeed.
che0nsu versus Surrender from last week. And che0nsu's got the drip again. I mean, most fashionable in APAC for sure.
It's just not even close. Like a Supreme jacket. You see, anyone else would say it's like, you know, it's a bit played out at this point. But it's che0nsu, so it's post-ironic. Like, you know he knows it's cool because it wasn't cool and it's cool again.
Ah, yes, the full circle of fashion.
Indeed.
Okay, it's going to be Tempo Mage versus Face Hunter first, though, which is the matchup that we were worried for Mage on a little bit, but already big decisions for blitzchung's Mulligan. Tour Guide is excellent when you have Face Stalker to pair with it, but is it good enough on its own?
Good question. Doesn't seem to think so here. A matchup here that I think Sottle has been kind of trying to fight the good fight of saying Mage is actually just not in that bad of a spot here compared to what people seem to be portraying it as, which I fully understand where he's coming from. You know, the counter pressure of Mage is very, very powerful, especially when you can get off to a decent start like this. che0nsu is looking to have a very powerful Shambhala turn right out the gate.
But this top deck for blitzchung makes the full mana expenditure possible. Because I was going to say, giving up Scavenger's Ingenuity on 2 means that you need to have a really strong play to back it up. Now he has full ways to spend with the Tour Guide, Adorable Infestation, and the ping on this lab partner. So I think I'm willing to give up the Ingenuity just to have a full lockdown on the board.
I'm kind of still tempted by the Ingenuity, I've got to say, because if it's the Phase Stalker on the next turn, you have the play of Tour Guide, Phase Stalker, plus the hero power. It's such an incredibly powerful turn. You hit the Volpatinger, and even if that does happen, you still have full mana expenditure. You're still playing 2 3/3s here. Whereas if you go for the play of Scavenger's Ingenuity next turn and hit Phase Stalker, you're really sad.
That's fair. I was thinking the scariest part about leaving up the lab partner is that if there's Arcane Breath on the other side, che0nsu does have that dragon list, then sometimes you don't even have the liberty to target your hero power after this turn. And while he did have the Arcane Breath, che0nsu turns it down for an even wider minion board state. And to be fair, blitzchung's line will absolutely pay off here.
Yeah, it's looking very, very strong. I really like the decision here from blitzchung because, I mean, which isn't to say that I think your line was especially wrong. I think it's because your line was so close in my estimation. They were both roughly equivalent, but I think this, on average, is just that little bit stronger.
Okay. Arcane Breath and the value trade. In many situations, that's a powerful swing on the board, but the size of the Wolpertingers is just insane.
Yeah, I mean, this is like the absolute dream for blitzchung. He just gets to throw down Lawkeeper here. He has Tour Guide plus the guaranteed Dragon's Bane on the following turn. It's as good as it gets.
Just not to say that Dragon Bane next turn is especially strong. You don't get the hero power with... Oh, wait, sorry. He has Tour Guide in hand. What am I saying? Ah, that is the dream.
Yep. Pretty much.
che0nsu, the response is a Shambhala pop-off. Nothing to scoff at, but it's unfortunate that all of the minions are dead to Dragon Bane, and possibly che0nsu's face as well.
Right. This is a bit of a weird order for blitzchung, because obviously he has the ability for a full board clear here. He could go Tour Guide, Hero Power one of them down, but then it's only a 1 in 3 for a guaranteed clear. Like, do you go for the Hero Power face then, and accept that one is always being left up?
Yeah, I think I would do that. I don't think there's any world where you're not playing the Dragon Bane Tour Guide this turn.
I agree.
And because you can't quite account for where the 50-50 goes, at some point you know that you're always gonna want to pressure their face. So I would just favor... Okay. Wow, good outcome! Sweet.
Oh, blitzchung, the absolute Jägermeister, Lord of the Hunt. Throwing down his obvious skills here. This is just over already. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, button first. If it hits the giant, I think you face tank the giant with the eagle horn bow, but it does not, so I'm sending everything face now.
Yeah, it's like only Conjurer's Calling into Walking Fountain. And even then, che0nsu isn't even running that in the list naturally, is he? So like he'd have to generate it. Oh no, sorry, one Conjurer's Calling in the list there. So it's possible that you should still clear the giant, but I don't think you're doing it. I'm launching everything face.
Oh, che0nsu is just dead to a single hero power next turn. I didn't even realize this was only one off after the collect came down.
Has to be Conjurer's Calling, and it has to be Walking Fountain, I'm pretty sure.
I agree, but it is not an option. blitzchung with the lightning fast first game winning on face.
Imagine arguing for Mage having any chance against Hunter when it draws almost literally the best possible 1 through 6 curve that you can in the deck as the Hunter. Very nicely done by blitzchung, everything going his favor, but with those early turns, which is always where the magic is made in face Hunter, I think he just made all the right steps along the way.
che0nsu's opening hand was a little bit interesting because I still wonder if there was some room to maybe fit in the first Arcane Breath a little bit sooner. I understand why he went for One Thief, because then it would be difficult to combo it out. But the Dwarven Sharpshooter, I feel, is low-key one of the most threatening minions for Mage to leave up, because it means that your Tempo Apprentice type plays will never work out.
Yeah, I see your point. It's about trying to play like optimistically versus just clearing off the board and denying damage where you can. I don't think either would have led to a win here for che0nsu just because of how powerful the draw was for blitzchung. But it's kind of expected there with the face hunter taking the win. One of the better decks for blitzchung out of the way. So now for che0nsu, I think the series really begins here down at 0-1. We're going to see if he can get the sweep backwards to get back into the game, or if it's just going to be another stomp here for blitzchung. After the break, we shall resume, and you can see then. You are watching the final series of APAC for the day. The final series of APAC for the week, for that matter. It's week 6 here in Hearthstone Grandmasters, which means we are on our 3rd out of 4 weeks of round robin, which means that next week is where it all comes down to it for our players. We're going to find out who is going through to the playoffs to be played out in week 8, and who, sadly, is going to be relegated out of Grandmasters. At the very least, 2 out of the 3 before we find out who the 3rd relegated player is going to be. So it's still very important for all of our players here, even in Division A, because che0nsu here, down at 1-4, got his first win of the week, or first win of the round robin entirely, earlier this week, and is now looking to put another one on the board for the small chance that he can maybe not end up in the bottom 2 of Division A and try and look towards playoffs.
He absolutely does need to just claw his way up to the middle. The best score he can have from this point onward is 3-4, which honestly, that's still a pretty decent shot of avoiding the bottom 2 slots altogether. But if he loses this one, he's almost certainly going to be in the relegation bracket. As for blitzchung, things are very different. I think he's had a great score leading up to this match, taking his first series this week against Bank Yugi, and he has a shot of possibly joining Surrender at the very top of Division 8.
Yeah, I think that from blitzchung, it's just been, again, what we've seen from him in terms of his Hearthstone, just carrying on playing very, very strong Hearthstone consistently here in Grandmasters. Took the win yesterday against Bank Yugi, playing very, very nicely there as well, and just playing to his strengths. You know, there's always the constant debate we have to have of, do you play the decks that you're best at or the decks that you're strong with? And I think blitzchung has found a nice compromise between the two, where he is able to play powerful decks, of course, fairly standard stuff, but slant his lineup towards an aggressive leaning way where he fares best.
And he has found himself a pretty good matchup for the second game, I would say, with the Secret Rogue into che0nsu's Malagos Druid. Questing Adventure already in hand for blitzchung. I expect that the 3-mana turn will be when he pops off, but che0nsu with the dragon off the top. Oh, wow.
Yes, that is how that works. Breath of Dreams, when drawing a dragon, does give you the mana crystal. Obviously, I think blitzchung will be quite reasonably assuming there was just a dragon in hand. It doesn't really matter either way for him.
But is that enough for che0nsu? blitzchung has Shadow Step now to go along with the Wand Thief questing turn. Oh my goodness.
che0nsu doesn't want to see this. I'll tell you that for free. And with no broomsticks in his deck, it's going to be a while before he has any way to deal with this whatsoever, especially with... Oh, what do you even pick here? Mirror Image is kind of just low-key insane.
It is, but I want the counterspell because blitzchung's turn 4 play is not spoken for at the moment. We could have even just seen Secret Passage if he had not picked up a good way to spend his mana. He could just mess with the GA counter push from che0nsu.
Or we are
if it were even there.
Oh my god, Fireball?
Fireball, yeah.
But then calling.
Font is the rest of his mana spent with Counterspell. It's an additional thing played alongside questing, so I still like the Fireball in the end, but it wasn't an insta-pick.
Oh! That was such a crucial draw here for che0nsu. If he didn't find a way to deal with this questing right now, it could have just been Secret Passage plus a million, and GG.
So clutch. And these trades hurt to make, but che0nsu stays in the game because of it.
I'll take these trades 1,000,000 times.
And now I'm feeling pretty stupid about suggesting counterspell.
Well, I mean, to be fair, you know, it wouldn't be that much better to go for the mirror image here. Counterspell could end up just being better, actually, now that you've seen the bloom.
You have seen the bloom, so they're going into 4 mana next turn, so you might still want to go Counterspell, Deny Overgrowth, for example. The other line is, oh, what is this? Double Trade, Fireball, the Death Rattle? Yuck! Everything sucks. Yeah, prefer this. Don't even give them the 4/4. Just make sure you have the cleanest board possible for a Jandis next turn.
Yeah, if you're lucky, you can get a, you know, push them off of the play of going for Overflow next turn or another Guardian Animals. It's unlikely, but it's, I think, the best shot that blitzchung has.
che0nsu also just rips the Moonfire for the counter spell.
Yeah.
Life is pretty simple for him. The only sad, I suppose, part is that he already has 2 of the big dragons in hand, so the Geppetto can't get those as a result.
I mean, it's just more likely to hit Omu at this point, right?
There's true.
One
Omu
teacher's
Alex.
pet. Omu Alex teacher's pet. That's it, right? In the deck. And Gidra, sorry.
I take it back. It's all insane.
Because if he hits Omu here, it's just instantly the game ends. There's no out for blitzchung then, I don't believe.
I am slamming this Geppetto every day of the week. And because he can't have a read whatsoever on which of these, blitzchung put the illusion on. They're the exact same size. You trade into Jandis and just chill.
I mean, to be fair, with this hand, if you hit Omu, you're kind of just winning without even needing the Moonfire. So you could go Moonfire on one, trade into the other. But I might be starting to think a little bit too in too deep there. Oh, just nails it the first try anyway.
Actually, it's a little bit short on mana to make the Omu turn really insane because he was not at the full 10 to go Malagos first, right?
Oh, right, yeah. I mean,
doesn't have Germination either.
Yeah. You're probably waiting a turn or two before it happens, but that just doesn't matter, I don't think. He's not dying before he wins if he hits the Omu here.
Well, if he didn't get rid of both 5/5s, there was a chance that he would die before that happening. So I do like che0nsu going for Moonfire guessing games. You Moonfire one of the 5/5s, you get it wrong, you can still deal with the other 5/5. He got the better outcome, so he clears a Jandis for his trouble.
Oh, are we just going Secret Passage with no mana left over? Shadow Steps, preps, backstabs, anything. Backstab?
Oh no, the Edwin! Yikes! Yikes, yikes, yikes. Feels bad.
Well, we'll take our 1 mana +1/+1 and be very sad about it here.
Alt Neophyte is semi-relevant though. Oh, who am I kidding? You still just like Alex face swipe the questing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can even fit the Omu in this turn and then play Ysera at the end of it.
That's true. That's so insane.
You don't need to go for the big combo. Break it up, take the full board control.
Yeah.
che0nsu has this in the bag 100 times. Yeah, fit in the hero power. Love it.
Correct, blitzchung. You got. It just happened this time. It's brutal. That's how it is.
My dream is your nightmare.
Nightmare indeed for blitzchung. So is the out Secret Passage again and hope you get good ones, but it's not even the top deck here.
I give up.
Throws it down. che0nsu taking the win with the Mali Druid. I think he'll be happy about that one, not only because that's a bit of a rough matchup against the Rogue, but also just because Mali Druid, I think, is pretty generally been realized is just worse in the vast majority of the matchups. It's only really if you're trying to hard target the warrior as he's going for here that I would even consider bringing it over the survival package.
And also, I guess if you expect more priests in the field, Mali Druid is more popular in other regions, to be fair, but in APAC, I absolutely think Survival Druid is the meta, because there's hardly any priest to be seen. che0nsu now with the same classes remaining as blitzchung, so we could have some mirrors on the horizon. We already have seen a crazy tempo mage mirror today. How are we feeling for round 2?
Oh, I can always go again with mage mirrors. Sign me up. I absolutely love seeing them. I think that, you know, contrary to what is happening in our caster Discord, quite a lot of the time when the mage mirrors are being played out, I'll not hear any of the negativity about some of the interactions that are out of your control, arguably, on either side as the mage player, because I do think while the flashy stuff can be, you know, you can kind of laugh at it and say that it's the random effects happening, underneath the surface, there are so many different moving parts that maneuver you to those situations. Yes, sometimes your opponent just gets an incredible Astromancer Solarian to win the game. It's going to happen a lot of the time. But most of the games, it comes down to the mulligans, the early decisions making, and players are losing a lot of percentages when they don't know those inside and out.
mages are the reason why we know about interactions like the spell burst on Kel'Thuzad going a little bit weird before the patch, and now we know about the ogre sleepy guy being able to always attack if he has rush.
Yes.
That's pretty cool. But I debated you, Derek, because it's not a mage mirror, it's mage versus rogue.
All right, I'll take being baited on that one there. che0nsu going with, as we see here, sorry, the mage, and then it is the secret rogue on the other side, or blitzchung. Lining up once again. We saw this go about as wrong as it can go earlier on today for, who is that? Bank Yugi up against Tom60229, with the secrets all just being so perfectly timed. An absolute nightmare instance for the mage in that count, because they just couldn't go with their big combos due to the fear of plagiarize. blitzchung, I have to imagine, is going to be going for some kind of a similar game plan here, outside of the obvious of just a massive Edwin right at the start.
The mulligan was really tough for blitzchung there because you have Shadow Stab One Thief and the One Thief with Vendetta kind of go together pretty nicely, but all of them don't really build up to a big threat. It's just kind of efficient card generation at the beginning. So blitzchung is just going to toss all of it. Ends up with, honestly, not that much better of a hand, but the dirty tricks is somewhat nice.
Oh, he takes Finlay. I was really tempted by Deathwing there, I've got to say.
Me too.
I know you're kind of looking to be ahead on board there, but it wouldn't hurt to take a contingency plan for that point, and I was pretty happy just playing a secret on 2.
Yeah, I think the curve was already somewhat spoken for secret on 2 into questing coin blackjack if the secret sticks, and if it doesn't stick, that means you have a minion on board that kills any other minion from che0nsu.
Look how insane this ambush was, though, from blitzchung. che0nsu, as you almost always do at this point in the metagame, goes for tempo Shenvala, just because the vast majority of the time, correct, it's not ambush. It was a full mull. You have no read on what the secret is. I think it was correct, but it ends up horribly for him. So horribly that it's not even going to be killed by the poisoners, but rather just sapped back.
Yeah, blitzchung's mana was actually a little bit awkward that turn if it's just trade. And he says, I will not give up the curve for anything. And che0nsu's forced to replay it.
Oh.
He still doesn't have to trade the poison.
Yeah.
Like, questing, coin, plagiarize.
I like the sound of that. Evil Miscreant can just come down next turn. I want to get the questing juiced up as soon as possible.
Yeah, it's a question between plagiarize and Finlay, but my thinking is already blitzchung is so far ahead that he does this. The only way he loses is the sorcerer's turn, which tends to happen around turn 4, turn 5 from the mage, so I want to have contingency against that.
I mean, it's just such a classic combo at this point of have a big threat and put the plagiarize down on the same turn.
Yeah.
It's like the the counter spell or whatever as an umbrella to protect your minions. Plagiarize does a lot of the same thing here.
You can think about saving Vendetta, but I want the +1/+1 on the questing.
Me too. I guess the one argument is to start talking about devolving missiles, but che0nsu isn't even running it in the list here.
Yeah. In the end, he goes for more board presence instead of the plagiarize. Most of the time, this still works out pretty well. And there's still a secret in play. I think che0nsu knows that that is definitely dirty tricks, right?
Yes?
Played Shenvala last turn and it didn't go off.
Right, yes. I think you're correct. I mean, I was just wondering for a second, is plagiarize even playable there? And were we being incredibly dumb? But yes, I think you're correct. He does have the read on dirty tricks.
This is the worst Raz of all time. I feel so sad. I wanted to go for mini apprentice pop-off there, to be honest. Since he knew it was not plagiarized.
Yeah.
And now the plagiarize is actually in play.
Okay, you can just freeze for a turn. If you're really afraid of the plagiarize. Or there's the line of Conjurer's Calling, of course, as well. On the questing. I
don't think it's quite so desperate yet. Oh, sorry, I thought you meant on Finlay, look for Doomsayer.
No, sorry, yeah. I meant on the questing to try and just make a little bit less threat.
I like your line of just freeze.
Okay. Oh, you're not happy about it, but you'll take it. Oh!
Called Neophyte!
That's
blitzchung
the
has
goods.
all the bases covered. Oh my...
Oh, this has to just be over now, right? He can make such a big board here. No response available for che0nsu whatsoever.
Just a partial... Oh, actually, he has 2 apprentices in hand, so...
Okay,
the 1-cost
okay.
spells will still cost 0?
That's fair.
Imagine.
Yeah, okay, we're getting pretty roundabout way to get there, but I guess you're technically right.
Someday I'll be just like you.
Still has to be insane outcomes, but the big point is if he can generate more Rays of Frost, they are still playable for 0 mana.
Yeah, it's Rays, it's obviously Evocation come down that you're looking for is the absolute dream.
Rain Freeze. There's a chance.
Ooh.
Not good enough. Oh, Arcane Breath, it's not the right 1-cost spell.
Not quite.
Yeah, probably just take missiles instead because the breath hardly even kills any. Oh, the 1/1. Yeah, probably still just breath.
I think
Titanic.
I think you take the breath, and do you even save it here just to go with potentially top deck of Dragon, and then you can hit Frost Nova? Like, I think it's approaching that level of desperation already.
That's fair. He doesn't have any other generation in hand except Cyclone, which is too expensive.
6, 7, 8, 6 spells need to be played here, or 6 cards, sorry. Or 5 plus the dagger?
Third?
I think that's lethal, actually.
You could be right. 9. Yeah! Perfect from blitzchung.
Damn. Saw it instantly there, did old blitzchung. 2-1 up in our final APAC match of the day. che0nsu knocking on the door of going down 1-5. Again, he's Division A. It's not a disaster, but che0nsu, I think, given how well he was doing coming into this season of Grandmasters, I was saying he's my player to pick. Rank 1 finish on ladder 2 seasons in a row, an incredibly difficult task to accomplish, let alone 1 month, just, you know, not even thinking about 2. But it just hasn't come together for him. He got still, I think, a very strong game win rate overall. We saw in the stats that he was rocking overall a 52.4% game win rate this season coming into today. So he hasn't been losing all that much. It's just all the wins came at the start to get him into Division A. And it hasn't been coming together in the round robin.
Yeah, something maybe just wasn't coming together. I know what that something was if you asked me last week.
Of course.
Which the lineup was definitely a little bit too out there. But I think that che0nsu is way more on the money now with his lineup. He still has a target, but it's not as all in. And even though he is down 1-2, there's a very real chance of being able to take 2 wins against blitzchung's tempo mage. We've seen Secret Rogue take the matchup several times today. It could happen again on che0nsu's end, and we could end up on a mirror for game 5.
Yes. On che0nsu's side, it's the weapon rogue, though, right? Not the secret rogue on that side.
Oh,
so,
true.
Up against the mage, I think that's arguably better, arguably not better. I'm not even sure where I stand on that because I still feel that I am a suboptimal secret rogue player. I'm willing to admit that that is a deck I haven't been having all too much success with on ladder, despite quite a few attempts. Whereas the weapon rogue, I think, due to its relative simplicity when compared to the secret rogue, is a deck that I've been doing pretty well with. And I think against mage in particular, just the raw aggression is fairly often enough to get there.
I agree. For much the same reasons that Demon Hunter is really favored against mage, I also think that weapon rogue has the damage output that's quick enough and doesn't rely on minions necessarily, which mage would normally want to freeze away. But of course, as with every single matchup, mage can generate ways to make the matchup a lot better for them. Ice barriers, frost bolts, all the same stuff you want against Demon Hunter, you also want against weapon rogue.
And it could potentially be, if che0nsu does end up taking the win here, another mage game 5 finish for us here today. I feel like we've been having a whole bunch of them. Tempo Mage just hasn't really been getting the wins. Already, though, here for blitzchung, the signature inclusion of double Firebrand, even with him being on the play, I think I still like keeping one of them. It's just so strong in the matchup.
Yeah, one of them, I definitely am on board for that. Take note that what blitzchung is cutting to make room for these Firebrands is the Violet Spellwing, which is the other card that I feel is good to just get the stealth minions from Weapon Rogue destroyed immediately. But blitzchung is thinking the fact that he doesn't immediately have a spell to proc the Firebrand means that it would only be active around turn 4, so he's looking for a 1-drop instead. And he got it.
He did get it. He's got a nutty curve here, but at the same time, look at what che0nsu has. Coin, Greyheart Sage, Self-Sharpening Sword, Cutting Class, Krastenov, Jandis, not running out of value anytime soon. Just needs powerful plates for the next couple of turns, and this already does it.
Yeah, the Deadly Poison. Oh my goodness. This is still a spider tank for blitzchung, which sometimes sticks and gets some value, but it's so scary. The second you see the sword come down, you know you're on a clock.
I mean, you're always taking it, right? You can't afford to float an entire turn. Wow. Okay. Fair enough. He's setting up for the next turn. Firebrand activation. I guess technically if he's afraid of an Eviscerate or a Cutlass here instead. Or Scimitar even, sorry.
I was like, did I miss a new weapon added into this?
Wrong piratey themed weapon, okay? My mistake.
Sorry.
You fight me, you get burned.
blitzchung's line, when I look over it again, is better against pretty much every play except Self-Sharpening Sword develop.
Yeah.
So I can understand it. He will still have Jandis the next turn, so it's not all over yet, but it's looking pretty hopeless. 4 free cards drawn this turn?
Yeah, this is so illegal. I mean, if you don't find anything better, you can just develop the Toxin Blade, but if he can get himself the Dread Corsairs as well, look at this turn! Oh my god.
Some mana cheating for Mage, not enough compared to Weapon Rogue, apparently.
What makes something real?
A-Bomb is not good here.
So you have to make A-Bomb
put...
the illusion one.
Correct, yeah. Otherwise, the Cloud Prince immediately dies after the A-Bomb dies.
che0nsu can figure that out, though.
Sap.
Is that better? Do you just...
No, it's not. It's not. I think it's still like a Krastenov turn.
Hmm?
Stab Krastenov?
Oh, yeah. I was just wondering about this
yeah.
backstab, but I guess this makes sense. Sure.
It's super clean.
Yeah,
He
I
ends
like
up
it a lot.
with 2 3-1s on the board, a bigger weapon, blitzchung with no minions whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at going for backstab the Abomination and then go Krastenov, but it ends up literally exactly the same either way. So I'm fine with this line as well. And I guess this line is good in case he, for some reason, tried to mind games you and put the illusion on the Cloud Prince as well.
Mm-hmm. Ay.
You fight me, you get burned.
We're approaching the point. Actually, we're at the point where I just wanted to play Apprentice as a 3-2. Maybe it soaks some damage from che0nsu, and that's a win.
I think the chances you draw Evocation next turn, maybe if you get some nutty kind of a hand. He's not even going to get to next turn, for that matter, as che0nsu just closes things out. But, I mean, what can you say? It was the perfect rogue hand.
Very clean from che0nsu. Again, it was a hand that pretty much played itself, but the one turn where the decisions had to be a little bit tricky, which is how do you go about the Abomination clear. che0nsu still nailed it, gave himself the best odds, even if the illusion was on the wrong minion. So that means we are just going to get to the game 5 that you and I have been looking forward to. Another Mage Mirror, let's go!
Another Mage Mirror, indeed. Slight differences, of course, with che0nsu going for the Dragon package, he's got Cobalt Spellkin and Arcane Breath, and also a slightly different inclusion of still having Conjurer's Calling in exchange for a Spellwing, which, if you are going to go for the Dragon package, the card I missed most of all was 100% Conjurer's Calling. So I really like that as the first card he's substituting in from the standard list of double Spellwing. But on the other side, for che0nsu, it's the kind of old-school non-dragon variant of the deck, with, again, his signature twist of double Firebrand, which I think in this matchup is a very strong inclusion.
Yeah. Or blitzchung that can make his earlier curve pretty relevant. I do think, though, that it often comes down to the mid-game in this more so than the beatdown in the first couple turns. Ooh. che0nsu, I'm liking single apprentice keep for blitzchung. Maybe even a full toss.
It's either full toss or keep evocation. Like, I'm kind of leaning towards keeping evocation just because it can be so powerful, but I really wouldn't begrudge him at all for just mulliganing for, you know, the one drops apprentice, cram session, all that stuff.
I like this from both players. Okay. Ooh. Now you kind of wish you had the evocation for this exact hand.
Yeah.
It's the calm before the storm here.
It is. It's going to be... Wow!
Oh my god!
Oh, okay.
The storm is here.
It's
what
here.
Did I say about calmness?
Yeah, exactly. Everything. Thunder and lightning everywhere. You have to just go Shenvala this turn, right?
Yeah, it is so nutty. Oh, he can pop off!
But I mean... technically, yeah, but if you don't hit Brain Freeze or Ray of Frost...
I mean...
Is it Coin Conjurer's Calling on the Shenvala?
No.
I'll
tell you that.
Are
Never.
you sure?
Never.
Okay.
I think you just do the thing with Apprentice. You only get 3 spells, and yeah, a lot of the time the Shenvala survives, but sometimes your Apprentice can stick.
Oh, he's so dead.
Just like you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's just one of those things where whether he knows it or not, developing minions is like actively bad for him here.
He is super dead, huh? Outside of an evocation top deck or generation.
Oh my god.
You don't even see the draw in che0nsu's hand before he plays.
I'll take Frost Nova there. Yep, correct.
Yeah. Studies.
Yeah. Keep him coming.
Wait, how many activations are we gonna see?
I don't even know anymore.
At least 2.
It's gotta be 3, right? This has to be an incredibly bad evocation to not get 3. Alnos first?
Okay.
Not sure if I agree, but okay.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
He's less odds to get the next Shenvala activation, but he hits a Rare Frost anyway! That's a full board!
But, I mean, now he can't play the Giant, unless he... Well, I guess he could Frostbolt his own Thalnos here, which I actually think is probably correct, just to get Giant down.
Yeah, okay. Wait, you can't. There's not enough... Oh, after Ray of Frost as well? Okay.
Right, yeah. You play the Ray of Frost, and then you Frostbolt your own Thalnos.
Man, such first world problems we are discussing.
Exactly. It really doesn't matter. The triple activation on turn 4. Gee, this is turn 4. How is this possible to do in Hearthstone? Look at this! It's Doomsayer already.
Ladies and gentlemen. There's Sorcerer's Apprentice, 1 Thief, try to hit evocation. I don't know.
Is he dead? Is
Maybe
he dead
it
on
is
the other
just look for... he is looking
currently
dead on board, yeah, with the ping. Now that we don't have much time left, I think you just go for the conj on the Apprentice. Good luck.
Time runs out on me.
There's no time. Doomsayer, 1 in 100 something, I would have to
Yeah.
assume. Depth charge? No one drops.
No one drops.
Okay. It was covered for a second, and che0nsu had a reaction, but I don't think that reaction was quite big enough for me to think it was Doomsayer.
Yeah.
That's close to the game.
Lethal. Technically, because he got a one-attack minion, blitzchung is in the game currently.
Yep.
Not really, but technically.
He's only mostly dead.
Oh, don't give the poor man hope.
Go, 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 blitzchung! No time! There is no time.
Someday I'll be
Okay, alright, let's go.
Yeah.
Yep, okay, that can get Frost Nova. That's not Frost Nova. Let's
It's
try
not?
again.
The only goal is Nova and get the giant down, right?
Oh!
That's the only... Oh, but he can't get the giant.
You
Yeah.
need like 3 1-mana spells to get Giant down there. Like, you know, technically still in with a chance. If the Apprentice sticks, he can go Giant Conjurers.
And then you need Walking Fountain, because he's
Yeah.
just dead to 2 pings as it stands.
Yeah.
che0nsu gonna get his own giant down. Fair play.
Oh, okay, okay. That does mean that Giant Conjurer's Calling is playable now. Oh, no, wait. He's not
He's
going for
not
the
taking
ping.
the
Okay,
ping?
okay, okay.
He's not taking the ping? Okay.
Ping Doomsayer?
Well,
That's the out, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh. Ping to make space. Now you have 2 shots on the one thief to make Doomsayer.
I wonder.
Then you don't have conch to heal with your giant, but whatever. Worry about the next turn when the next turn arrives.
Doesn't even let us see it. I think we can see blitzchung already realized it wasn't the Doomsayer. And there it is, Gia. The first week for che0nsu, where not only he gets 1 win, he gets both wins here. 2 and 4. Things finally starting to turn around for him in Division A. Maybe the hopes of playoff are still alive.
Indeed. I just gotta say that was not the Tempo Mage mirror I was expecting to see after all of the back and forth down to the wire, coming down to a puzzle box and a prime shenanigans that we saw earlier in the day. But that just goes to show the wide spectrum of ways that that matchup can play out. I still want to say really well played to blitzchung. The first game on Face Hunter, I believe, was impeccable as well, even though I was tunneling on a different line when I reviewed it. I absolutely am on board with the Scavengers on 2. And I think the lineup as a whole gave himself a pretty good shot to get there against che0nsu's Mage. But it's all about che0nsu now. Started from an 0-4 match score, and now he has a chance to pull himself to the middle.
And it becomes even more impressive when you realize that